Hello everybody and welcome back to the damn sofa. That's a damn sofa and that's my damn sassy sidekick, Mr. Roscoe P. Coltrane there in the background. And my damn name is Paul. Y'all, today we're going to be discussing our damn little situation with Miss Damn Amber Heard. Okay. We are going to be continuing to review the snippets, although this one is going to be a little bit of a longer video, on the cross-examination. Specifically, we're going to be going over those pesky little pictures. Last video we went over the pesky little medical record. This one, y'all, I was like, you've got to be kidding me on this one, right? A lot of tea spillage comes out of this, mostly in, what she's doing with these photographs, what she's not doing with photographs, and some little eye slippage towards her lawyer, right? But now, before we get into all of that, though, I want to give a shout out to everybody who makes the Sofa Squad possible. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It would not be here without you. Thank you very much. Roscoe thanks you, I thank you, and the sofa thanks you as well. So the structure of this, if you're new here, hello, welcome. How we're going to do this is this. What I will do is I will play some clips and whatnot and then make commentary on them. And that's just kind of how we roll here at the sofa. Remember, this is for entertainment. This is just commentary. I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, any of that stuff. These are just my opinions. And so they should be taken just as that and that alone. Now, I do have a couple of other channels. I do have my podcast channel. I go live and talk about this kind of stuff. It's the links down in the description, and I have my review channel. I haven't posted something on there in a hot minute, but I'm getting ready to fire that back up when I'm not as busy with this stuff. And so I do like movie reviews, product reviews, that kind of stuff on there. It's typically geared towards pop culture, horror stuff, that kind of a thing. So check that out. The description, or the link is in the description as well. Anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get started. Again, y'all buckle your damn seatbelt up. If you got a sofa seatbelt, it's time, because this one's a doozy.
What you do have, Miss Heard, are pictures of Mr. Depp sleeping, though, right? The jury saw a lot of those.
Yes.
Okay. Miss Heard, let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1090, which is already in evidence.
I mean, Camille slapped her damn Louis bag on that damn bench and said, "What you do have are a bunch of these," and just spilled the evidence all over.
You took this photograph, right, Miss Heard?
That's correct.
And you testified that this was taken in Tokyo in July of 2013, correct?
Yes.
So you decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep on the floor?
He was passed out.
That's a yes.
And I took a picture of him because he wouldn't remember. He claimed he didn't pass out that way. And sometimes security would carry him like a baby into bed, get him changed, and he would be none the wiser. So I started taking pictures of it so that he knew that it was real, that it had gotten this bad.
Now, again, this is one thing of interest that she brings up, Camille, the attorney, because a lot of these pictures, now granted, this one is a little bit, it looks like he is sleeping with his head in the nightstand table, right? So, this is a little bit extra. There is some ice cream abuse that comes up later with the ice cream stuff all over him. So, there is that, right? But some of them do look like he just kind of is asleep, right? And so it's an interesting thing that his attorney is doing. Now, again, let's make no qualms that we are very well aware that Johnny is no angel, okay? Johnny has his own set of issues. We are very well aware of that. Very well aware of that. Somebody asked an interesting question in the live chat the other day on the other channel, and they're like, "Paul, if you had to be on a desert island, you had a choice. You could either be on there with Amber or Johnny. Which one did you pick?" This is my first response, and actually I want to amend my response. My first response was, can just being on a desert island without either of them be an option, right? But now actually I think about it, I'm like, what about, can I be on there with Roscoe? So that's my first response. Then after that is, can I just be on there alone? Then after that, Johnny. Then after that, Amber, right? So that's the pecking order and how it goes there, right? So yes, Johnny is no angel in this, right? At all. He has his own set of issues, all that, I get that. But it's just very interesting to hear the verbiage that the lawyer is using in this. And again, how she turns a lot of what we see, it appears that Amber is doing, and the evidence will show of what she's doing with this photographic evidence and how it ends up in certain publications. So anyways, let's keep going.
You took this picture as well.
Yes,
And this is a picture that was taken in the Bahamas, right?
it's one of them, yes.
And this is a picture of Mr. Depp taking a nap on his tropical island.
I believe he was on the nod, but as he would say.
Sleeping on the nod on his island.
They're very different, in my opinion. And
Okay.
yes, he is on the island.
On vacation.
We were on vacation, yes.
On the nod, 100% sounds like something Johnny would say, right? I would give him that. But again, I'm like this. I'm like, I probably could take a picture of me like that, right? Now, that doesn't mean that he hadn't been on a bender. I don't know. I wasn't there.
You also took this picture, right, Miss Heard?
That's correct. I did.
And this is another picture of Mr. Depp asleep in a chair.
No, he was nodding off. Sleep is different. When you're nodding off, you're high on drugs, didn't even feel the cigarette in his hand that had, been burning on his leg. It was cause for alarm for me, naturally, because I cared about him.
It's your testimony under oath that Mr. Depp is holding a cigarette in this picture?
He had been.
You seem to really like taking pictures of Mr. Depp while he's sleeping, don't you?
I hated it. I hated it.
That is the most I hated it. I hated it I have ever heard, right? I mean, and this is the thing. There's clearly attention-seeking behavior on her end because of what we'll see the evidence shows that she's doing with these pictures and whatnot. And I can understand if there is an authentic thing of being like, look, say you have a loved one who's doing stuff and it absolutely denies it. Look, here's that you were doing this last night. What are you going to say to this? You know what I'm saying? In a situation like this where all these pictures, well, not all these pictures, but we'll clearly see some stuff ending up in People magazine and whatnot, being sent to friends and utilized, look what I'm going through and all this kind of stuff, whatever, right? It's kind of a different ballgame, right? I also, let's make note of Johnny's little ponytail that he's using in his hair or whatever. I thought that was kind of cute, a little cute look there. But notice the little detail that the lawyer picks up. Is it your testimony that, he has a cigarette in his hand? I mean, she doesn't miss a damn little beat. I wish that I could be that quick on my feet these days. That's one thing I've noticed with this attorney is I'm just like, what a young little whippersnapper. Because I'm just like, I'm like, my God, I feel like it. I'm in my 40s, right? And I feel like everything's in slow motion at this point. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? I just feel like every little thing she does, it's like, bam, she's just right on it. I mean, and good on her for that.
You took this picture of Mr. Depp as well, didn't you?
I did.
You decided to take a picture of Mr. Depp asleep with ice cream spilled all over him, right?
He was nodding off, and I was worried about how bad the medications and the medication change and the drug use had gotten.
Now, I think it's safe to say this one's a little out of control, right? This looked like some good ice cream, possibly a peanut butter flavored one of my favorites. And so definite harm was done against that ice cream in the filming of this, and I feel a certain way about that. So, yeah, that was rather intense. I'm not sure what he had wrapped around his head. I mean, a lot is going on there, right? And we'll see this picture come up in some text messages here shortly.
You also told the jury about an incident on December 15, 2015, right?
Where? I'm sorry.
December 15th, 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
You told this jury that after this incident, you had a broken nose.
It certainly felt like it.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony on day 16th in this trial?
When she sucked that air in and she was like, it certainly felt like it. I mean, another thing with Amber, and I said the same thing about the attorney, is Amber is, very quick on things. Very quick. Now, granted, we've seen her get tripped up and exposed and all this kind of stuff, but she can hold her own, right? You have to give that to her. You know what I'm saying? However you might feel about Amber or Johnny or whatever, her ability to remember this stuff and comb through it and be on her feet with stuff, I'm like, my God. Wow, right?
I thought I probably had a concussion and certainly thought excuse me, strike that, let's start over. I thought I probably had a concussion, and certainly that I had a broken nose. There was blood everywhere, blood all over the pillows. My head was bleeding from the ripped out hair, chunks of hair on the floor, all over the place actually. So lines 9, that I had a broken nose. Do you recall giving that testimony, Ms. Heard?
Yes, exactly.
So you had a broken nose, right?
That's absolutely what I thought.
You had 2 black eyes after this incident, right?
And so again, I've said this in my other videos about her, and I just think that it's interesting in this one too, how she'll own up to stuff like, yeah, I said that. 100%. You know, yes, exactly how I felt. And like, she's like just going after it. And again, it's just almost like this whole thing of like, that's the story we're going with, that's what we're selling. Whether any of us really know that's how she truly felt or not, I mean, we'll probably never know, right? But regardless, it's like, that's what she's sticking to and that's what she's selling. And it's like, let's just run towards that, and it doesn't matter what any of the other evidence might show or not show.
I did have 2 black eyes after that incident.
And you testified that you also had a busted lip from when Mr. Depp punched you.
That is correct. From December, yes, that's correct.
You testified that the lip wound kept reopening when you moved your mouth.
That's correct.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple
That's correct.
and bruising on your chin.
Correct.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where Mr. Depp ripped chunks of your hair out.
I remember, yes.
Now again, in this whole scenario right here, what's interesting is, to me, she's starting to go down this whole avenue of acting like re-victimized over the scenario of it. And again, with just what it appears that the evidence is showing so far, is that, you know, this is probably not what happened. Very most likely probably not what happened. And so again, it's interesting just to see how almost like she's attempting to mimic what a real person would be feeling or going through recounting their story, right? This whole reliving the scenario of, oh, yeah, you know, that type thing, right? But there's 2 different things going on here. One thing that I notice throughout this thing is like, okay, for example, when things are brought back up about the relationship, about this, about that, or whatever, that have to do with the love of Johnny, it's like this, yeah, almost like this, my heart is still this open wound and all this kind of stuff, right? In these scenarios right here, it's this, for times that I would think somebody would show some kind of an emotion about a past event, it's not the emotion that matches, right? Other times where it's like I would think that someone would show an emotion about a certain way, like, okay, well, would think that I wouldn't feel this way about someone who had done blank, right? Now, all that being said, it's not my place to determine whether I believe her or not. It's not my place to decide how a victim would or would not feel. You know what I'm saying? Now, this does not mean that I agree with whether I think she's really a victim of Johnny or not. You know what I'm saying? But in any of these cases that we look at, I never like to sit here and be like, well, I would feel this way, you know, or I would do this, you know, about something that I've never experienced myself. But again, because of the dynamics of this and the lies that are being exposed with her testimony and some of her behaviors, I think it's interesting to comment specifically on her behavior, because some of it just doesn't seem to be congruent throughout her testimony.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures.
That's correct.
And we will look at some of those in a minute, but I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Now, another bad part about being a celebrity in situations like this, where there is so much photographic evidence, but then also, and this is what blows my mind with this, right, is the fact that she took so much photographic evidence, but then there is also like extreme public evidence right on the heels of all this. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I don't know if Amber specifically during these times would even miss a beat to any of this. I don't think that she's the type that would sweat this. I think that she's the type that would be like, I've got this. I can talk my way out of this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the personality types that I have dealt with, stuff like this, one thing that is common is this kind of stuff right here, where there's always something really obvious that makes you say, why would they think that they could get away with that? Like, it's so obvious, and I've spoke to this in some of my other videos. This is what we're starting to get into here, is some of that stuff of, why would they think that they were on national TV the night after they claimed blank happened? Why would they think that they could say that this happened? It's so obvious. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing. But that's this personality type. They will lie about anything and convince you of it. They are so full of themselves and so confident in their ability to manipulate and talk their way out of anything. And it's almost like they don't really care about being able to talk their way out of it. Like, it's just kind of like in the moment, if that makes sense.
You appeared on the James Corden show the day after this alleged incident, right?
I did.
And notice how she immediately starts the manipulation. I did. Almost like, oh, I couldn't believe that. I put in so much work to try and cover it up.
Horses and,
oh, really?
You know,
not a big ballet.
So there's her on the James Corden show sitting next to some hot dude.
That's a photo of you opening your mouth on the right?
That's correct.
So keep this in mind. This is the photo. Now, she had photographs surface earlier in testimony and whatnot of the big split lip and all this stuff and yada, yada, yada.
With a split lip.
You've seen pictures of it without makeup. Yes.
So you had a split lip when you were
sure
moving
did.
your mouth that way
I sure did.
in those photographs.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the thing. I don't wear no makeup like that. I don't have no big fluffy lips like that. So I don't know if that's possible or not. Y'all let me know in the damn comments if it is.
You did take pictures of your alleged injuries after December 15th, correct? And you showed those to you testified that this is a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
It was.
Okay, so here's the thing now, and again, this all comes down to, now, this, in this particular video, we're not going to even be getting into the bruise kit. The incidents that she's describing, and again, everyone is different, and it's a very tight rope to walk because of real victims who go through stuff. To sit here and be like, oh, well, that doesn't qualify as a real thing because this doesn't, you know, that doesn't look like this, or this doesn't look, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to sit here and say, well, that doesn't look believable or whatever, even though, I mean, honestly, I feel that way with her because I don't believe most of what comes out of her mouth. And so much of the evidence points to manipulation and things of this nature, right? Manipulation through makeup, through filters, through stories, through all of this kind of stuff, right? Other evidence of, you know, just other stuff. So this is where the slippery slope comes in, and then also utilizing all of this photographic evidence for whether it's publicity or potential blackmail, things of this nature. But let's keep going before I keep commenting.
These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
Okay. So, first of all, the stuff that she comments on, which is the, oh, I felt like my nose was burnt. Oh, I had these big black eyes. Oh, this and that. But she looks perfectly okay on made up the next day, no swelling, you know, she's testified, oh, the ice made it go down, oh, we'll make up this and that, and then conveniently it's on the cover of People magazine, and we're going to hear her excuse for this, which honestly, the second that this takes place where it's on the People magazine and her excuse for it, that's where I'm like, really? You're done. We've seen what we needed to see. You're done.
You gave these pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
Now again, she covers her butt here. I didn't personally know, but it gets even worse for her. Not really her, well, her legal team and her, because it just looks even bad. Now also make note of the like very morose pose, that kind of a thing. And I mean, this is the thing that you have to think, like, think of the stuff that goes on in Hollywood, the stories that are spun that never make it to the surface, that this kind of behavior has gone on behind the scenes that the public will never find out about. This level of spinning, manipulation, blackmail, all this kind of stuff.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
Okay, so several things in this clip. Let me know your experiences down in the comment section. This is a huge experience of mine with people with this personality type disorder. When their backs are against a wall and they start to realize it, crying is a go-to. Crying is what they, in my opinion, what they do that is their escape valve. That is their, I can't really talk my way out of this right now. I don't know what else to do. This is an ultimate sorrow card. It's an ultimate manipulation card, and it usually will shut people up, and so it makes things move on, whatever, right? So she starts to break up because this is looking very bad, right? Because when the attorney sat here and said, this is you helping Johnny, Amber has made her whole platform on this. I wanted to help him hit rock bottom and see all this. So you put his pictures, you put it in People magazine. I mean, seriously? I mean, who does that, okay? Who does that? And then she's, oh no, I had to do this to prove that he was a liar, and did it really? Really? You know, this is very unbelievable. And so when she's caught out on it, she starts to cry and play victim, right? You know. So this is, and to me, this is a very frustrating part, because this type personality is go-to. And sadly, it works for them for a lot of people, because again, this isn't a courtroom situation, so they have to move along, they have to do this and that. But when you're in a real life situation, if you're at home arguing over a broken coffee cup, spilled milk, whatever the thing is for that moment, and they start pulling this drama, and then the waterworks come on when they can't lie their way out of whatever it might be, or whatever the case, you do the math on it.
So you did give these pictures to People magazine?
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
So it's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures of their client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce?
I certainly did not personally give it, no.
I love how the lawyer kind of does the shocked laughing during that, like, really? And then Amber admits it in essence by saying, I certainly did not give it to People magazine. So again, I mean, this is just the shock value again of like, so your lawyers, I mean, that's of course who gave it to them, right? I mean, Amber probably didn't have to give this to them, her lawyers did. And in the middle of this divorce, I mean, it's a smear campaign is what it is. You know, and of course, she's alleging the same thing. I mean, this is just nasty Hollywood spat 101.
Mr. Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard?
That's my experience of him.
Now they'll go into this testimony about these damn rings. Oh my God. And you'll see why they're doing this, because it does make sense with what she's alleging and the injuries and whatnot that come from it. And it is kind of like, yeah. I mean, because when you watch, first of all, I'm not a major jewelry kind of a guy. Nothing against it, but when I see even the jewelry that he seems to wear, I'm like, that just gives me like anxiety to think of wearing that much stuff around, right? I'm just like, ew. You know, like I might wear a ring from time to time, a watch, stuff like that, but that's it. Certainly not anything chunky. So when I see him with all his stuff on, I'm like, oh my God, that just gives me anxiety. Let alone to think about getting smacked around with it or something like that. But again, this is where these attorneys are really good, because they're just piecing this together or picking it apart with, well, if he's wearing all this stuff and you said this here and then you're claiming this happened, I mean, one would think there might be some actual, you know, remnants of bruising of this, or the injuries might be even more intensified because of it.
Ms. Heard, do you recall giving testimony in a deposition in this matter in January of this year?
I do.
And see, here she comes. Here the attorney comes with the receipts and lining her up for him.
You said he hit you and he was wearing rings, right, Ms. Heard? So he hit you with rings on every finger?
I don't know if I've ever known Johnny to not wear rings.
Yeah.
Hear the weepy voice, the whole 9 yards.
Ms. Heard, you testified to an incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you testified, quote, you don't know how many times he hit you in the face.
That's correct.
So Mr. Depp hit you in the face multiple times while he was wearing rings on this occasion, correct?
Which occasion in March are you referencing? You weren't
The
specific.
testimony that you gave on day 15 of this trial, March of 2013. You weren't specific as to the day.
There were several incidents.
The one where he hit you several times in the face.
That right there was a mic drop moment for me because the attorney is just like, and for anyone else out there, the way she words, I mean, this attorney is good, right? The way she words things, she's like, the one where he hits you several times in the face. You know what I'm saying? This should be a very memorable thing. And again, Amber's being very, there is many, which one? You know what I'm saying? Amber gives it right back, but the attorney is just the dramatic, not really even the dramatics of it, but like the thud of it, right? The one where he hit you several times in the face. And Amber fumbles through this, okay? She's not, this attorney, I can see why they picked her, because to be able to question Amber, you have to pick somebody who is on their A game, okay? You can't get someone who intimidates easily. You can't get someone who's going to get too tripped up. You have to have someone on their A game to come and be able to hold this kind of banter with Amber.
I'm sorry, just so I understand better, there were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The time that he hit you several times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty
In
much
March
always...
of 2013.
Right. What are you asking me? I'm sorry.
He was wearing rings on that occasion?
I pretty much always knew him to wear rings.
Okay, let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 170A, which is already in evidence, Your Honor.
Okay, that was just a jumbled mess. And you see where like Amber kind of was like, what are you asking me? Huh? I mean, she was doing some stalling tactics there, right? Of like the confusion of there, because the attorney wasn't going to back down from there. And I mean, and again, it's like, yes, the situation where he hits you several times in the face wearing rings. Which one? That's the thing. You weren't specific. There was that. Well, there were several incidences. It's that one that you described. You know what I'm saying? So that was such a very interesting little banter there. Let's continue.
You testified that this is the picture you took after that incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that was one where he grabbed me.
And hit you in the face so many times that you don't remember. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And there's no injuries to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that this picture shows.
So yeah, that's where you run into these problems. So you see how the attorney sets it up. Oh, you're hitting this face several times, this, that, and the other, da-da-da. And then the picture is shown, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's not. You're expecting to see someone's face completely banged up. I mean, we've seen, especially if you're, here in the true crime world, we've seen, people at the hands of this kind of abuse and whatnot, and you see what can happen, and so then you see this, and it's like,
You testified to another incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified you felt like your lip went through your teeth and it got a little blood on the wall.
Yes, I remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I can't recall. There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you, Ms.
I don't
Wright?
know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that alleged incident, that your lip went into your teeth. You don't remember that, right? You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that incident, right?
I don't believe I've seen that picture admitted.
and this is where the rumblings began. Her attorney over there is probably already shaking. She's gonna get the switch! She's gonna get the switch!
That picture doesn't exist.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013, yes.
The only picture that you've produced and shown to this jury is the one that was just put up on the screen, where you said he hit you multiple times in the face, and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
That's the only picture you've shown to this jury from March 2013, correct?
I believe so.
A whole bunch of rigmarole to get around to just finally admitting to that's the only picture. Because another thing that stands out is the fact that she was documenting so much of this. So a lot of it's like, well, then why wouldn't you document? If you did A, B, and C, why not D, E, and F? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And so to sit here and be like, okay, well, I forgot to get the one where actually my nose was mangled and broken off of my face, but I did get this one with a little bruise on my arm. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense.
You testified about an incident in Russia on or about June 26, 2013. Do you remember that?
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
That's correct.
And you went to the bathroom after that, right?
I did.
And then, according to your testimony, when you came out of the bathroom, Jerry Judge, Mr. Depp's security guard, who's passed away, pointed out that your nose was bleeding, right?
He did that in the hallway.
Now notice how she does point out that he has passed away. Again, not going to hear from him.
And you said you hadn't known that your nose was bleeding until Jerry Judge pointed it out to you?
Yes, that's correct. I was unaware until he brought it up to me. I didn't see it when I was in the bathroom, but I wasn't looking.
So it's your testimony that you went into the bathroom and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose was bleeding?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror. I certainly didn't enough to notice any blood.
And you didn't take any pictures of your bloody nose either, did you?
I did not.
But pictures were taken of you in Russia, though. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We had a dinner.
Again, things like this just don't make sense. So she had this bloody nose, all this stuff. Well, I went in the bathroom crying, but I wouldn't look. Why wouldn't you look in the bathroom, a mirror? I mean, this just doesn't even make sense. Even if you normally go in the bathroom just to use the bathroom, you're going to look in the mirror. You know what I mean? So this is where this unbelievable factors to the story don't quite add up. And then if you had a bloody nose, now I can see some, like, you know how sometimes like you might get a bloody nose like over, say, allergy, something like that, and you don't notice it or whatever. So like, oh, this other guy was like, hey, look. If you hit your nose or something like that, or somebody hits you or something like that, you're typically, especially if you're near a mirror and you go in the bathroom, it's just a human reaction to want to look. That's what just baffles me about this testimony.
And this is you and Mr. Depp in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, correct?
It was a dinner function, I believe, in promotion of the movie. It wasn't the premiere, if I recall.
You don't have any visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
So again, that pesky little picture is just coming right back.
This is a picture of you, isn't it right?
That's correct.
This is also a picture from when you were in Russia for the Lone Ranger premiere, right?
That is correct.
And you have no visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting real close up on these damn photographs here. I mean, Amber's really hating the damn paparazzi right now. I can tell you that much, okay? She is like, remind me to slash their damn tires.
Even though Mr. Depp whacked you in the face so hard that your nose bled?
He did.
While wearing chunky big rings, right?
That's correct.
You also testify that Mr. Depp, again, whacked you in the face after the Met Gala in May of 2014, right?
That is correct.
You testified that you thought he hit you so hard he broke your nose.
That's correct.
You said your nose was, quote, swollen, discolored, red.
That is correct. I took a picture of that.
You testified you took a picture of your face after this.
I did.
But you didn't show that picture to the jury, did you?
I would like to.
But you didn't show it, did you?
That's not up to me.
Ooh, yeah, y'all, this is where we might need to send help to her attorney here, y'all. Ooh, my goodness, there's a lot going on in these clips here. I'm getting nervous for her. I'm getting nervous for the attorney. My God. I mean, first things first. First of all, if y'all are still watching, Little Mr. Roscoe's back there. He's buckled in. Drop some little blue doggy footprints down below if you have them. Is your little emoji. Send Roscoe some love. He's just been hanging in there, y'all. So send him some love real quick, and then fasten your sofa seat belts up, because this is the part right here where Amber is getting really riled up about these pictures. I honestly fear for her attorney's safety, okay? Because you know that she gave her lashings, right? After this testimony, you know she gave her lashings, okay? I mean, this whole dynamic where they're going back and forth, I mean, it's so much of this, like, you know, you got whacked in the face, and you got whacked here, and then there's this photograph, and then here's this, and then I mean, it's just like, oh my God, come on.
You understand you were under an obligation to produce all photographs after any alleged incidents of violence, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
You didn't produce any photographs after the Met Gala.
I produced everything.
I produced everything.
You also understand that you're under an obligation to produce all medical records reflecting any injuries you allegedly sustained from Mr. Depp, correct?
That's correct.
And you haven't produced any pictures or any medical records reflecting a broken nose after the Met Gala in May of 2014, have you?
I have given everything to my lawyers. Everything. I've turned over literally everything that I have.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you sought medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You also attended an event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
And you went to the all-star comedy tribute to Don Rickles.
That is correct.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, notice how she's like very quick to this is where, you know, Amber is like, she's art. I bet she has a little button to shock her attorney to be like, you're gonna get it, you know, but it's something. Okay, so she's like, I gave them everything, you know, and she probably did in her mind, right? She's like, I gave them everything, right? I mean, I'm not trying to even say that that might not be a thing, right? But clearly, first of all, we've seen what probably she is talking. If you haven't, I did a video on her little medical record, or at least one of them or whatever. So we've seen what she's talking about. It's just like, girl, okay, you know, at least what maybe was admitted into evidence that we're allowed to see, or whatever, I don't know. But shade is involved around the medical records, okay? So there's that. Side note on everything. Notice how towards the end when she was like, okay, the Met Gala, and then the next night they went to this thing for that comedic dude. This is my first thought when I heard that. I was like, that sounds exhausting, okay? Number one, look at how, and I mean, this is like me being completely lazy, because first of all, they have a team of people that are getting them dressed and doing this and doing that and da-da-da-da, but you already know that's exhausting, getting all that makeup and hair and wardrobe and all that kind of stuff, and then going to the event and da-da-da, and getting all that done, and I'm like, and then to have to go to another event the next night? Oh my God, that sounds horrible. And then having to go do that, put on that smile for that amount of time 2 nights in a row like that. Oh my God, right? I'm like, no thank you. I'm not gonna apply for the job to be the movie star, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and deny the application. Thank you for asking, no.
This is a picture of you, Ms. Heard,
Yes, it is.
at that event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
I'm not sure if it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
He whacked you so hard in the face that you thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Right.
For the record, I'm not actually sure if it was broken or not.
This is a picture of you, Mr. Depp, and Don Rickles, right?
That is correct.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
This is a picture of you at the same event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he broke your nose.
This is a picture of me after he did whack me in the face.
The night after, right?
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
Again, these pesky little pictures, this pesky little evidence, you know, and I mean, she'll rely on the whole, oh, I covered it up with makeup, I used ice, I did this, I did that. Again, if anyone's ever been punched in the face, punched in the nose, punched truly and punched, whacked or whatever, what that's like, right? You're not covering that up and going to something like this the next day, right? And not looking like something truly happened to you, right? You're staying home for several days and can't be seen in public because of it.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Miss Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Miss Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
Right. And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
And there's the answer, everybody. Ice does it. Again, like I just said, what I think ends up happening in a lot of this, and so sometimes, like for this example, I sit here and think, I'm like, what if they were doing something in some little like back and forth running around, and say he came around and accidentally whacked her, didn't even mean to, say, like he was turning around to do whatever, and like a kind of thing, and she turned that into he struck me, I thought my nose was broken and all this. And again, so there's that. It wasn't even a meant to. It was anyone could have done that type of situation, right? Like even not fighting or whatever, but like you're reaching for the cabinet, you didn't know somebody standing behind you type thing. That type scenario. Versus a true domestic situation, someone full on punches another person in the face. Said person cannot leave the home if they are protecting the abuser at this point because their face is bashed in, right? And so they have to stay home or something, or come up with some reason why they have to go to the hospital, whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's where I have an issue with this kind of testimony, which is making something out of nothing, if that makes sense, if it even happened at all, right? Because some of this other stuff, you just have to question, like, did this happen? Or are you taking an event that was like either a very watered down scenario of this wasn't him hitting you, this wasn't him striking you, this wasn't any of this at all. You've essentially made it up and then turned it into a pretend event, if that even makes sense, and try to equate it to someone else's story, someone else's true situation, and stolen their story, their trauma, their pain from them.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
Now this is where this testimony, this is bad. Okay, I have a picture of it. That's how I know how to reference it. This did not help her, I don't think, at all. Now, the more attorney Emily, those people, I'm curious to see what she has to say about this right here. Because to me, from my sofa, I'm like, yeah, this looks really bad for Amber, right? Because it's like, I don't think you really have that picture. And if you do, I think it's been debunked. You know what I'm saying?
A picture you haven't produced or shown
did.
to this jury, right, Miss Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
That right there is where she was going to give her attorney a lashing. God, and I've heard of I can't remember who, from other people who were saying, oh, so and so's in the court or whatever, or her attorney and her have had yelling matches and stuff like that, and the attorney saying, oh, you just get another attorney or whatever, right? I mean, you already know. Can you imagine the screaming fits that they've had with one another of Amber going off on her? I mean, Amber's making an ass out of herself, right, on the stand. I mean, she doesn't need any help, right? I mean, I can only imagine the gaslighting she's done to her attorney, because God only knows what the attorney had to work with. You can't tell me as her attorney that you don't know half the stuff is made up or bogus. Once, even the testimony of all of, or the lack thereof, you should say, of all of Amber's people, that speaks of volumes.
Ms. Heard, you testified that in January of 2015, there was an incident in Tokyo before Mr. Depp's Mordecai, the film Mordecai's premiere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you told this jury that on this occasion, Mr. Depp was kneeling on your back.
That's correct, in the closet.
Okay, so Let's see these vicious back injuries.
This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
Now don't worry, that stuff you're seeing, that's just a little tattoo.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture.
No, not that I could see.
Here we are again. Woo hee, hoo ha ha. My goodness. Okay, alright, well, okay. So, first things first, if you are still watching this tragic train wreck, drop yourself a little sofa down there. Let me know. If you're a member of the channel, drop a pink one, and if not, drop the little emoji. I do appreciate you making it this far in this absolute train wreck. So, again, this pesky photographic evidence. You know, again, it's no secret. I don't really believe what she's saying. I wasn't there. I don't know these people personally. Thank God. You know, that goes for as much as I, as a fan of Johnny Depp's movies, stuff like that. You know, definitely want to be in a personal relationship with him. Certainly not with Amber. You know, I mean, I can 100% tell you that. This is drama. This is just absolutely absurd. I mean, thank God. I mean, I just can't imagine, right? But again, it's absolutely absurd to see this level of, you know, stretching the truth and making things up. The dramatics on the stand, the whole 9 yards. So I think that a lot of this photographic evidence, and of course by the time you're watching this, more stuff would have come out on the stand to show that, yeah, a lot of this stuff, that filters have been used, makeup, this, that, and the other, you name it, right? So, but I just wanted to comment in this video on some of this stuff, share my opinion, all that kind of stuff. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm very curious to know. And then we're going to be going into day 2 and some of my upcoming videos. Now, also don't forget, if you're still watching, like I said, drop your little sofa love down there, but don't forget to check out Roscoe's little commercial in day 1. He has a little sponsor now. He's going to be getting ready to do his next commercial for them. It's gonna be adorable. So be sure and check it out. That's all. So anyways, I do appreciate every last one of you for being here. Thank you so much. The channel would not be here without you. I really appreciate it. And that's all until we meet back here at the damn sofa with my damn sassy sidekick. And don't forget, my damn name is Paul. Well, I'll see y'all soon.